So there's lots of ways to do more than just talk therapy. There's lots of ways that you can start practicing connection and go beyond just we're going to have insight about why we're upset. We're going to understand that it comes from our family of origin or our childhood wounds. We're going to try to strategize and develop a system in our households that make us less stressed. We're going to look at our own individual life balance so that we can work our tools better and take care of ourselves better so that we can be more present in our lives and in relationships. That is all amazing. And somatic experiencing, meditation, going out into nature, having regular times that you connect with each other, having some really great practices of the way you spend time together, practicing deeper intimacy by being more physical and not sexual to get your affection back. Um, Doing the things that you always want to do and share them with each other. Sometimes I see couples exploring different things in their lives, like they, start taking acting classes, or they really start training for a marathon, or they have different things that they challenge themselves with career wise, and it helps them grow and change. But one of the things about evolving in a relationship is that you want to make sure you're keeping yourself connected to the other person in your evolution, because if you're not, you know, keeping track of the evolution and being a part of the evolution, it can feel quite threatening. And it's really important that exploring yourself, which I think is an amazing gift, and if you do that in all the ways that I just said or more, that is wonderful. But in order to make it non-threatening and to bring the other person into the evolution, is to talk to them about that, what it means to develop yourself, what it means to become more confident, what it means to become more calm, what it means to work on parts of your personality that are difficult. Maybe even things like just habits that you had that you felt like were annoying. Some people, you know, actually stop doing lots of things that they've done for years, like drinking. I've seen a lot of soberness come into couples that really threatens one of the partners, or a different kind of eating format, and it threatens the other partnership. But I think if there's a way to include them in what it is helping you do, what your reason for doing it is, and that they can actually not feel left out of it, like they're just holding the fort, down while you go explore yourself. I think it's really sensitive to be in that process of discovery and include your partner in your growth, and have them also be somewhat a part of the growth if they wanted to explore it with you. So that gets into different ways of doing therapy, different ways of learning, different ways of growing. I love when people take couple classes and communication skill classes and meditation classes and yoga classes, and really start sharing those kinds of ways of being together in a deeper space so that we're out of the trance, right, into the present, working with different kinds of tools, opening up, waking up. Someone that I work with who's a coach said, the more that we work on ourselves, the younger we stay, because we're alive and fresh and approaching things differently, and it's exciting, and that energy is palpable to other people. But remember to bring your person along in your exploration. It's an amazing thing to watch people kind of grow together. And then it's not always linear, right? Someone might grow and the other person catches up or is involved in something else, and not in their growth process, but gets back to it, and keep, sharing your process. And so there's lots of ways to do that, as we discussed. And I want to bring you into more of the more than just talking. And it doesn't have to be the psychedelic work that I'll be introducing you to in the next few minutes, but it's more like anything like that allows you to go into a deeper space of peacefulness and consciousness and presence that really brings a different vibe into the relationship, that you're not just having the same fight, right? And we're trying to stop having the same fight. Isn't that right? We don't want to keep having the same fight. It's it wears on us, it fatigues us. So getting new information is really important. Changing your neural pathway so that your fight is different, that your vibe is different, that if you understand why we have that fight because I really want to take care of myself better. And so that's why it's stressful when I come home and the house is messy, for example, or when there's no food on the table. And so then there isn't that resistance because there isn't the fight or the conflict. There isn't the resistance of the other partner. Like, I am always going to do this wrong. I don't really want to even attempt it. So I want you to hear a little bit about working out of the model of talk therapy into the practice of opening up the neural pathways and trying to have another experience and a better understanding. This isn't for everyone. And if it's not psychedelics, it can be meditation, it can be breath work, it can be gratitude work, it can be sitting together every day in a journal writing, it can be writing to each other your appreciations every day. It could be anything that just brings you out of the trance of everyday life. I have seen some clients go into more of a psychedelic model of trying to break out of the day to day, of the strife, of the stuckness, of the rigidity of like how they're interacting together. And part of what I feel like psychedelics symbolizes is something that we can't naturally do on our own yet, which is to get into more symbolic thinking about what is our closeness really about? And is there different ways of closeness that we need to start adapting? Because maybe we're also 20 years into a relationship. And so the physical, intimate component that was in our relationship before is really shifted. And is there a way to be close at this time? And what would that look like? It might look very, very different. And there isn't a disconnecting of the executive functioning of the brain, which is very alert and very calculated, into just allowing there to be a breaking of what it always feels like to be around this person with this topic. That's really hard to talk about. So I've seen a lot of success there. And I've heard things like, maybe it's my behavior that really is driving that person crazy. And I really would like to look at that with them because I want to change. I want to be an easier person to be with. I want to be a more relaxed person to be with. And they see, like, oh, maybe they need to be kinder to this person because they're able to disconnect. So, whether you do the psychedelic work, which can be moderated to be a very low dose and it just snaps you out of that rigid pattern of thinking that you've always been doing with the partner that you're with, into just loosening up and seeing what's there and seeing if you can change the energy and the way you think about a situation. um, there's a shorter version, so it's you can actually do it within a session, and just go into a 20-minute phase of the psycholytic um, ketamine, and that just makes the conversation much easier and much more flowing. And the mind will go where it needs to go, and look at the things that it needs to look at to break the pattern. Because our minds are so, so, so powerful. And I don't think we give enough credit to that, that even though things might be solvable, not solvable, like arguments or conflict, our mind can actually adapt to new neural pathways so we can create other scenarios and different ways of thinking about something. So I really encourage, whether people are doing more a meditative practice, journaling practice, trying to be in a gratitude practice where they're actually in the present, practicing being in the present a lot, being in a space where they really appreciate and practice appreciating who they're with, and out of the negative cycle, like 2 years ago this happened, 3 years ago this happened, and moving beyond this place that they're stuck. Of course, there has to be equal desire, to work on the relationship, to get deeper, and that whole aspect of trust and safety needs to be addressed. And I think that's how the deeper work works, is that there is an agreement of trust and safety there. And that if we're going to open up to another level of connection, we really have to trust that we both are going to try to see what's underneath where we've been stuck.